Let's go out to Los Angeles, California, and talk to Shelly. What's up, Shelly?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Good. What's up?
So I'm a little nervous.
I'm nervous too. So we can just be nervous together.
Yes. So my question is, how can I move past the history that I had with my husband while he was drinking, now that he is sober, and is it even possible?
I don't know. What is what? There's a lot there. Why do you want to move past it?
Because I feel like I can't be connected with him anymore. I guess I'll just explain. We've been married for 4 years, and he was drinking for, I guess, 3.5 of those. But it just progressively got worse. And I did threaten many times to leave, of course, but eventually I did. And I went to go stay with my aunt and uncle, and I kind of was just trying to figure out my life because I was just done. And only after I left did he finally go to AA and decide to change. So I came back, and the last few months have just been, I can't get intimate with him. I can barely hug him, honestly. I feel like when he is even like touching me, like I just get like almost a defense mechanism, you know?
Why? How come? Like, what is your body trying to protect you from? Often when we say I had to step away from a relationship, whether it was romantic or a friendship or something like a marriage, we step away from somebody who's struggling with addiction. It's often the behaviors that surround the addiction. So did he hit you? Did he cheat on you? Was he with other people? Like, what were the things that were happening while he was not sober?
So he did not hit me or anything like that. I mean, he got aggressive with me, but like mostly verbally. But he would pretty much like drink excessively. And then if we would go out, there were a lot of times where he would act out. And I mean, I lost a lot of friends, you know, because he kind of just turned into a crazy person.
Okay.
And, you know, then sometimes like if I would go out, he would get drunk and then freak out that I was out, like just, and then.
So why do you want to go back? You left.
Yeah.
You played a game of chicken with him for a while, which is I'm gonna, and you never did. And then finally you did. And it sounds like, we forget this, alcoholism, all addictions, but alcoholism can often be highly environmental in nature. And most people, when they enter into sobriety and they go to AA, they don't realize you got to change friends, you got to change coping strategies, you got to change places to go hang out, you got to change everything. And you left the environment and you found peace. Mm-hmm. You left the environment and he was able to exhale and go get help. So what is it about you wanting to engage in this thing? I don't see anywhere where you love him, where you want to go be with him, you want to rekindle with him. In fact, your body's telling you the exact opposite. So why are you want to go back?
I mean, I guess because I married him and I did go into this with love, and I wanted to be that way, I guess, and I want to heal, and I guess I always wanted him to be a certain way, and he wasn't. And then when I left, suddenly he's like, "Oh wait, actually, I will change." And now that he is, I guess I just wish that I could feel that way, and I wish that we could just heal.
Can I give you an alternate explanation?
Yeah.
You had a picture of what marriage was going to look like. You had a picture of what he was going to look like. But over time, you didn't like who you became.
Yeah.
And you lost trust in you. And now you're back. And when people get sober, they have to deal with this ugly reality, which is real life on both sides of the equation. That's why people who struggle with certain addictions, their partners often can't survive the transition to sobriety because that's not the person I married, or that's not what I signed up for. This sober person. I liked the fun person, the silly person, the spontaneous person, the moody, dark person. I liked that. I didn't like the excesses, but I liked that part. And I don't know what to do with this cheerful guy or this thoughtful guy or this guy that picks up after himself and goes to work every day. What about you? Do you not like in this newly sober husband of yours?
It's hard to explain, but I think the main thing is that I really degraded myself by putting myself through what I went through. And when I finally went to my aunt and uncle, and my aunt is like basically my mom, she really kind of explained to me that I can't keep doing that. And I think I got that in my head, and now anything that he tries to do just doesn't help because I'm now like, no, I respect myself and I'm not going to let you take any advantage ever again. Like, I don't know. That's
is
kind of
is
what
he
I
continuing
think.
to try to take advantage of you while you're sober?
No, he's actually trying to be better, and I can see that, and I guess that makes me feel guilty.
Okay, so he's not on the phone, so the only person I can talk to is you, and I'm going to give you probably some wisdom that nobody's given you. Okay?
Okay.
You chose to go back.
Yeah.
And if you choose to go back, and now you discover that you have power, because AA is about taking a knee. It's about saying, I submit. I tapped out. The way I was trying to do life was not working, and it was burning me and everybody else to the ground. So you've come back, and now the tide has turned, and you've got power. And you are killing this guy. You're starving him to death. You're dangling love over a great cavern, and then you're pulling it back every time he tries. And in a weird way, that's cruel. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do.
And so either here's what most people who re-enter relationships like this, here's the mistake. We just want it to get back to the way things used to be.
Yeah.
I want it to be like, remember when we dated, and remember when we laughed all the time and we made out wherever, and remember our wedding, and we want it to get back to the way things were. And hear me say directly, there is no going back. There is only creating something entirely new. Entirely new. You'll still have the memories, you'll still have the hurt, you'll have new boundaries, you'll have some protective measures, but you have to go all in. Not in being who you used to be and him being who he used to be, but in being completely new people for one another so that you can re-engage this marriage. And if you're not willing to do that, don't torture him. He's got enough on his plate.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
That makes a lot of sense.
Are you willing to?
Like, am I willing to let go?
No. Are you willing to say, okay, this is what was, and it all fell down? If you've listened to the show for any length of time, you've heard me use the analogy about 9/11. We could never go sweep up all the steel and glass and wood and all the papers that were scattered for miles. We could never sweep all that stuff back up and use those materials to rebuild the Twin Towers in Manhattan. You have to excavate the whole thing. It all has to be moved out, thrown into the dump, or recycled, and you got to clear the whole deck out, and you got to design and build something new. See what I'm saying? And what you're trying to do is to sweep up all that stuff, and halfway through sweeping up the stuff, you say, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not debating. I bet, man, you could probably make my skin crawl with some of the things you've experienced.
Yeah, definitely.
The screaming in public, the embarrassment, the sexual advances you didn't want, even though you were married, like all the stuff, man. Not to mention the stuff that you probably don't know about or you've chosen to not know about. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying you chose to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And if you choose to come back halfway to a guy who's trying to recommit his life to himself and to you, that's cruel.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, tell me.
It doesn't feel like it's, I almost feel like I'm not choosing, like I'm trying. I want to get better, but I can't help. It's like flashbacks. Like I see what he's capable of. And it's hard for me to move on from that.
That's exactly right. And so I'd recommend a couple of things here. Number one, you have to develop your own voice. You've got to develop your strength from the inside out. What does that mean? That means you need to sit with a counselor and be open and honest about what you experienced. Get those things out of your heads, those flashbacks you say, those haunting memories, get them out of your head onto paper, into conversation with somebody else. Usually in your situation, that's best had with a therapist. You're going to have to learn how to create boundaries. Very, very firm boundaries. Boundaries like, you cannot swear in this home at me, period. If you swear in this home, you are choosing to leave or I am choosing to leave. You cannot hide money in our home. We will have one single joint checking account because we're married, and we're going to put this, like, see what I'm saying? Like, you'll have to have really strong boundaries. And then you're going to have to practice that when those lightning bolt thoughts pop in your head, the thoughts of, remember that time he started screaming in a restaurant and caused a scene because he was drunk like an idiot again. You stop and you exhale. Not doing that today. He's sober now. And I'm going to practice going back into restaurants with him. I'm going to feel the discomfort in my body, and I'm going to lean into that discomfort. I'm not going to run away from it, because otherwise, if I keep running, that discomfort becomes reinforced in my own physiology. My body reinforces. So next time, it'll send more thoughts, and they'll be louder and more obtuse and more graphic. I'm going to remember. And I'm not saying you forget. You'll always know what he's capable of. The new building you build will have new reinforcements in it. And you can't base your health or wellness on trying to fix him. That's his work he's got to do with himself and his sponsor and his community. But if you're going to go back, you've got to do the work to be all in and be well. And honestly, I think you should. I don't know what you've been through, so maybe if we sat down, I'd be like, honey, run. But just from this limited conversation, I think you're worth that. I think he's worth that. I think this marriage that y'all put forth is worth that. But if you come back, you got to go all in. All in.